Hi, and thanks for watching. I'm Michael Alden. Folks, if you have a dog or a cat in your household, you're not going to want to miss this next half an hour. Our guest claims that our dogs and cats by nature are raw food animals, and commercially prepared cooked pet foods like kibble or canned food are missing several critical ingredients causing many health issues. Our guest is a naturopathic doctor. He's also a certified nutritional counselor, and he's worked in the nutritional supplement industry for the last 20 years, and more specifically, he's been working with animals for over 25 years. As an animal lover, he believes there are some very simple things we can do to improve our pets' lives. So again, if you have a cat or a dog in your household and you want them to live a happier, healthier life, then you're not going to want to miss this show. Please help me welcome Dr. John Taylor. Dr. Taylor, thanks for being my guest.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got involved in the world of health and nutrition, but more specifically with our pets, because it's a pretty interesting story.
Well, I've been doing enzymes, nutrition, and vitamins for humans for like over 20 years. And even though I've always had dogs, I've never had a necessity to really look into their health that much. The last dog we got about almost 15 years ago now was the run for the litter.
Okay.
So she didn't have any defects, she wasn't diseased, but she wasn't really thriving.
Okay.
Low energy, coat didn't look that great. And my wife and I said, well, we know what to do. We're going to give her some enzymes and probiotics from our People line.
Right.
Not very convenient. You got to open the capsules up and try to measure it and pour it in the bowl. But in 3 months, she's just like a new dog.
Because that was your specialty in the human world was enzymes.
Right. Enzymes, digestion, gut health, etc.
So let's just get into it. What is an enzyme and why is it important to not only our health, but I guess really our pets' health?
Nothing happens in life without an enzyme doing it. It's a catalyst that actually makes a change happen.
Okay.
With food, the way it works is every food on the planet in its raw state has an enzyme in it which will digest it, break it down, and activate it so it does what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
So without that enzyme, nothing's going to happen. So dogs are raw food animals. When they go catch a squirrel in the forest, they're not going to have a barbecue and cook the squirrel.
Right.
They're going to eat raw squirrel, and the squirrel meat raw is going to have all the enzymes in it to digest that meat. So it benefits the dog without anything having to be done by the dog.
Okay.
You take that same meat and you cook it. You kill all the enzymes. Now the protein is still there, but there's no way for it to break down. Now the whole burden of digestion is shifted over to the dog and its organs. They're not prepared to do the complete digestion job. So consequently, you get halfway digestion. You get a lot of things that cause inflammation, that cause the stool to be not as healthy. So there's a lot of consequences to having the improper diet for that animal.
So I'm guessing, like you said, the inflammation, but it must tax like almost all their organs, their kidneys, their liver, their heart, right?
It does. You and I have felt this ourselves. If you got up in the morning and had a bowl of fresh raw fruit,
right,
go out and go for a run, no problem.
Yeah.
That same bowl, you fill it with sausage, pancakes, and hash browns, all cooked, you're not going to want to go for a jog.
Right.
You're going to sit there and buckle that belt and go, oh man, I just can't move.
Right.
The enzymes in the fresh raw fruit facilitate quick digestion, easy nutritional delivery, and you're not burdened down.
Sure.
So when you feed a dog raw food, they're not lazy and sleepy and trying to roll over and take a nap, because they're going to get the nutrition readily and they're going to actually have a better time.
So is it your opinion then, I guess, that the foods that we're giving our dogs and cats is just really not beneficial to them, or is it half beneficial, or what's the story?
There's a gambit of foods on the market today, from the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay.
There's some high-line foods, there's some that I wouldn't feed to any animal.
Right.
But they are all basically cooked and processed foods.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do is pick a food that is the best one that you can afford for your dog. And not everyone is going to match up every dog's health. The next most important thing to do is to do a digestive enzyme like PawVites, so that food will break down, digest, and benefit the animal.
So, again, you said the good, the bad, and the ugly. Give me an example of the good, and give me an example, I guess, of the ugly.
Some of the worst foods out there in the market are corn-based. Corn will be the #1 ingredient. Corn is kind of a known allergen for pets.
Okay.
It doesn't do good with their coat. They get itchy, they get hot spots.
But isn't it almost in like everything that they're giving to dogs and cats, right?
Corn is being used tremendously, and it's in our own diet. We're eating a lot of corn-based foods. For dogs and cats, it's just not a good idea.
Right.
So you want to pick a food that's going to have meat as the #1 ingredient.
Okay.
What meat is kind of up to the dog. Some dogs do good on chicken, some better on beef. Some have to do exotic meats like kangaroo because they got overfed chicken and they have an allergy to it.
Right.
But all of these allergies can be kind of mitigated a little bit when you digest that food.
Okay.
So when you don't digest that, you have a bigger problem.
If you have a dog or cat and they're getting this food, and some people might think, again, they're feeding them the best or the high-end food, no matter what, if they don't have a product like PawVites, they're not able to really fully benefit from the nutritional aspect of the food that they're eating.
Right. Their bodies are not set up to take a cooked food and process it completely down to the digestive food they need to run the body.
Right.
They're designed to eat raw food, which is going to self-digest, and then the enzymes being produced by the dog's pancreas are there to finish off the process.
Right.
Not start it from start to finish.
As you're talking, the more I think about it, again, we love our dogs and our cats, and I have, 2 cats and 2 dogs, and I've had dogs throughout my life, and everyone always has, really the best interest of the animal, and you want to give them the best stuff, but really, even if you're buying them the high-end stuff, it's not helping them. It could even potentially be hurting them, right?
Yes, I've had owners call me and said, I have my dog on a good dog food. And I thought, I'm going to splurge and I'm going to go to the most expensive one I can get, which is a higher meat and higher content.
Right.
He didn't do as well on it. What was up with that? It was a better food.
Right.
I go, well, sometimes the better food is more concentrated with the meat. If they can't digest the medium grade food, they're going to have less of a time digesting the high quality food.
Right.
Again, it comes back to digestion.
So you developed this product called PawVites. I love the name, by the way. And tell us about the formula. I noticed it here. It's an enzyme formula. We talked a little bit about enzymes. It has 14 enzymes. Tell us about these enzymes and why you formulated it this way.
When I first looked at the market and I saw products on the market with 4 enzymes, I'm an enzymologist. I thought, well, that's kind of crazy. I mean, it takes 5 enzymes to digest rice.
Okay.
That's just one ingredient, rice and lamb, chicken and rice.
Right.
Well, there's 5 enzymes it takes to digest just rice.
Just rice. And rice also is something that is in almost every dog or cat
Very
food,
common.
right? Yeah,
it's very common.
Right.
So how is a 4-enzyme product going to be able to do this? So what I did is I analyzed hundreds of dog foods. I want to know every ingredient. I want to know the ratios and amounts. I did a lot of calculations and scientific studies on what it would take to digest this.
Right.
Then I matched up an enzyme to every single food substrate. Now, substrate means protein, fat, carbohydrate.
Okay.
We're not talking about beef, chicken, rice, and vegetables.
Right.
But the substrate is the base thing we're trying to digest.
Okay.
It takes 1 enzyme to digest each one of those.
Right.
You can't do 4 enzymes and digest a dog food.
Okay.
So I came with a lot of study and a lot of research, the blend of 14 enzymes. These 14 enzymes will actually digest any commercially produced pet food that you want to give your dog.
I'm thinking about that rice, and it takes 5 enzymes, you said, to properly digest the rice. And a lot of these products that are out there only have 4, so they're not even really working for that. What happens to that piece of rice? Is the dog or cat, are they getting any benefit from it, or what's happening?
If a food does not digest, there's 2 things that are going to happen. If it's a carbohydrate or a sugar, it's going to ferment.
Okay.
Fermentation is going to cause gas.
Okay.
Bloating and some things sometimes that'll clear out the room.
Right.
If it's protein doesn't digest, it's going to putrefy.
Okay.
Putrefaction is different than rotting. It's a little bit different than fermenting.
Okay.
So those produce problems for the body. In other words, they
Right.
produce toxins that
Yeah, I was
can
gonna ask that,
cause
toxins, yeah.
They can toxify the body. They can stress out the liver. They can also increase inflammation.
Right.
And you'll have a systemic inflammatory response going on, which can cause then higher uric acid levels. This can deteriorate the bones. Then the joints can start getting weaker. And over time of eating this cooked food diet with no help of enzymes, you're actually deteriorating your animal's health. And that's just, the long term, you're looking at big vet bills.
I keep going back to that rice, and I think about what we all love our dogs and our cats, and we really want to give them the best stuff. And some people might think that, giving our dog or cat rice isn't really bad, but it really actually could it could hurt them. They're not getting the right stuff. It's taxing the liver, it's taxing the kidneys, and then you said it could potentially become toxic.
Exactly. Yeah. If it doesn't digest, the body has to exhibit or exude resources and issues to get it cleaned out. In other words, it just doesn't harmlessly pass out of the body.
Why aren't dog foods and cat foods putting like PawVites just automatically in their food? Why don't they just put it in?
Well, when you bake the kibble, you kill them all again. Remember,
okay.
Temperature, and it's not even hot temperature, really. At 118 degrees, every enzyme is dead.
Okay.
They start dying at 89, 90, 100 degrees. By the time it hits 118, they're all gone. We boil an egg at 212. That's not even hot cooking.
Right.
We do hotter temperature cooking. So when they're baking kibble and they're producing it, if they were to spray on enzymes at the end, then they're going to throw it into a paper bag, put it on pallets and hot trucks, and they're not going to handle it well. And by the time it gets to you, you're not going to have any enzymes left.
Really?
The best and most efficient way to do it is to add the enzymes right at the time of feeding.
Now, it leads me, I guess, to my next question. How do you take it? How does it work for the dogs and cats? Is it different, or is it?
It's real simple. We put a little scoop in here, and the scoop is a 625 milligram scoop.
Okay.
You do 1 level scoop like this on every cup of food. A 3-cup-a-day dog, 3 scoops. 4-cup-a-day dog, 4 scoops. Makes it really simple.
That's simple.
What I do with my dog is I take a little container with a snap-on lid, I put the food for the day, put in the number of scoops of this in there, snap on the lid, give it a shake.
Okay.
When you open it up, it's completely dusted over all the food. It has no flavor, so all the dog is going to taste is just the food that he's eating. And you can take this container then and feed it 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Sure.
But you only have to get this jar out 1 time. Makes it very, very convenient.
You know, I'm sure our viewers are watching and they probably have a lot of questions, and we're gonna give them a number that they can call in just a moment. But you know, give us some examples of or symptoms that we should be looking for as a pet owner that says, hey, you know what, my dog or my cat is just really not, you know, digesting properly or not getting the nutrients that they need.
It's funny, I've had show dog people, I've talked about this to them, they go, well, my dog digests fine.
Right.
Which they mean that it goes in the front and comes out the back.
Right.
They're not really seeing what's going on with the dog. But some of the signs are going to be the lackluster in the coat.
Okay.
Or they're going to have rashes on the skin, or they're going to have itching spots, or they're going to have, their eyes are not quite as sparkly or whatever.
Right.
They're low energy. They
Right.
want to lay around more. They don't want to get up and run. Or sometimes they'll have, you know, giant stools because it's not digesting, it's just kind of passing through the body.
Going right through.
I had an employee, got a brand new dog. The dog came with food. This is, here's what I'm feeding the dog, here's your dog. Took it home, fed the dog, and the kibble was kind of gold-colored nuggets.
Sure.
Next day, he picked up in the yard, he goes, gold-colored nuggets. It didn't hardly even change.
Right.
And he was new to me, and I said, look, you've got to use enzymes. So
Right.
he goes, okay, took him home, put the enzymes on there. The next day, he comes in and goes, the poop's brown now. I go, yes, it's digesting finally.
Right.
You know, you don't want to just run through the dog. That doesn't do any good.
Sure. Yeah, Dr. Taylor, again, I mentioned we are going to put a number up on the screen, but in a minute, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, some of the success stories and some of the pets that have tried the product and what it's really done for their lives in just a moment. Folks, if you've been watching and you'd like some more information about PawVites, pick up the phone and call the number on the screen. Again, we have trained representatives standing by that can answer all of your questions. Plus, if you call within the next 5 minutes, ask how you can get a full supply of PawVites absolutely free. Folks, this product has been scientifically formulated, and Dr. Taylor actually guarantees that it's going to work for you. So again, pick up the phone and give us a call. Dr. Taylor, give me an example of someone who has given the PawVites to their pet and what it did for them.
Well, I had one professional kennel that was a Bouvier breeder. Now, the Bouviers are the big black curly dogs.
Okay.
And she says, you know, she's getting in one time maybe 9 to 12 dogs. Every year, she had to have a vet come to the kennel and give them all allergy shots because they are all getting the seasonal allergies.
Huh.
So she put them on the digestive enzymes, and she says the allergy season came along. They were all fine.
Dogs get allergies just like us?
Just like, yes, seasonal allergies.
All right.
And so she was so impressed, she wrote me a letter. She said, I have not done allergy shots for all of my dogs this year because the only thing I changed was I put the PawVites enzymes on there.
So what happens is now, is that because they're able to get the nutrients and now does it make their immune system stronger? Is that what's going on? Or?
It does help the immune system, but the mechanism going on that's most accurately analyzed is this. There are 2 kinds of enzymes in the body. There are systemic enzymes that run our body.
Okay.
They are also responsible for taking allergens that pop into our nose or into our eyes or into our lungs, find them and break them down and digest them, eliminate them. Well, when you start taking cooked food and give it to a raw food animal, they are now robbing from that system to digest the daily food.
Right.
And by the time that allergen comes along to them, they've got nothing left to fight it. When you
Okay.
think about dogs, you know, we can walk around in the forest and we get up our nose or whatever. Dogs are walking on their feet.
Right.
They're picking up tree pollen, grass pollen, all kinds of things. They come up and they lick their paws. They're ingesting it. Then they'll scratch their ears. They'll inoculate their ears, so they'll get ear problems. They'll get allergy problems, systemic allergy problems.
All this is really can be tied to the fact that they're not able to properly absorb and digest the nutrients.
Right. So if you're giving them PawVites on their food, that's going to digest the food.
Right.
Which means the enzymes to take care of allergies are untouched. They can do their job separately.
So if someone has a dog that maybe suffers from some sort of allergy, like I had a dog that no matter what we gave her, she always got a rash on her belly. I'm not really sure what would cause that. But if she was able to try the PawVites, you think maybe that rash might have been a non-issue?
Yeah. There's 2 kinds of rashes that could have been. It could have been a food allergy or an organic environmental allergy.
Okay.
She could go out and lay in the yard and get grass pollen on her stomach.
Right.
She could be eating a protein like maybe chicken or turkey or lamb. I don't know what it could have been.
Right.
If she doesn't digest that protein well, it's going to go in the system and cause an inflammatory response.
Sure.
And you can get an allergy from it.
Let's talk about our cats for a second, because I think we spend a lot of time with the dogs. I have a couple cats. I happen to love cats, and Some people love them, hate them, but I think they're great. Does this also work for cats? And what are cats going to notice when they take it?
Cats are going to need this for the same reason, but it will work equally well for them because this is going to work on the food.
Okay.
We're not trying to give a drug to an animal to have it affect the body. We're trying to affect their diet.
Right.
So cats are eating similar type foods. Now the profile is a little bit different because they're going to have a little bit higher protein. They're not going to have the veggies in there like a dog can handle, but they're going to have a primary protein diet. So this is going to go in and digest that protein and let it go into the cat system. Now cats are susceptible to some problems from poor digestion.
Right.
When they don't digest proteins well, they're more susceptible to stones, kidney problems.
Right.
And this is not a cure for those
What
problems.
about fur balls?
Yes, actually, fur balls, the incidence goes down a lot because there are enzymes in the cat's body that are designed to digest that fur.
Right.
They bathe themselves by licking themselves. That's just a fact of life.
Right.
Well, if you're stealing all their enzymes to digest their food, those enzymes are now being robbed from that system. Now the hairball's there's no enzymes left.
Okay.
And that's where they're going to have a problem.
Now, can it work for any type of breed of cat or dog? And is there one particular breed that maybe you found that has benefits more so than others? Or
No, the breeds will have different benefits.
Yeah.
You might have a Great Dane using PawVites, all of a sudden will muscle up because they want to be a muscular dog.
Right.
And they've got to convert that food, that protein, into amino acids to build the muscle.
Okay.
But you might find a long-haired dog that it really needs to have those fats in that food digest to the fatty acids, and that will make the coat and the fur just glossy and silky and shiny.
I was telling you earlier in the green room that I recently adopted 2 puppies. We think they're Jack Russells. They look like Jack Russells. But anyway, when should we start giving the PawVites to puppies? Or is there a time when we should stop?
Yes, this product is designed from their first meal that's not mother's milk.
Okay.
Mother's milk is very complex food, full of enzymes. It's raw food. And they do great. They start thriving. It's their first food into life.
Sure.
We switch them from that to a 100% cooked diet in one fell swoop. It's a shock to the system.
Oh, I bet.
Some puppies don't do as well right then. They kind of falter a little bit. Some of them just go through it and plow through it, and the side effects will show up later in life.
Right.
But as soon as they're eating any kind of a kibble or any kind of a canned or any kind of a cooked food or even a roll food, this should be on that food right away.
So again, it has 14 enzymes you had mentioned earlier because it matches up to the substrates, which you need. Is it all natural?
Yes, these enzymes are grown through fermentation processes or they're harvested from plants. They're 100% natural.
Okay.
Now, I would caution people looking at enzyme comparisons. There are enzymes in the market that are animal-based enzymes that I am dead set against.
Okay.
They actually go to slaughterhouses.
All right.
They take the cadavers and take out the organs and they juice those organs.
Really?
Then they take the product and they make it concentrated. It's very medieval. You don't have to go to this
That
old
sounds
medieval
disgusting.
style. This is vegetarian approved. They're more effective. They work in broader pH ranges. So, and it's easy. There's no downside to this. With the pancreatic enzymes, that's what to look for to avoid.
Right.
Pancreatin or pancreatic enzymes, you can overdose them.
Really?
You can actually have bleeding gums and you can have irritation of the throat. It's never designed to be eaten. These are food type enzymes that are found in all raw foods. The body knows what they are and they welcome them in. They said, great, we're glad you're here. Come over and do this job for us.
So there are enzymes that are on the market now that are in some other supplements that people might be buying that again, they think they might be doing something good for their pet, but they're like compounding and making it even worse.
Exactly. Pancreatic enzymes.
How does that stuff even get on the market?
Well, it's old technology.
Yeah.
I mean, until the late 90s, we didn't even have the technology to put together a PawVites program.
Really?
All we had was the old research on doing the juiced cadaver organs.
Right.
But now we can do it with all vegetarian enzymes. They work more efficiently and they're safe.
Now, I mentioned different breeds. You know, you're starting to see a lot of this now. I had a big dog before. Pain. You know, we talked earlier is that you don't necessarily, the dogs and cats, they don't really talk to us, but you can kind of tell. Does this help with pain? Because, again, I think it's becoming more of an issue these days.
It is, and it's due to the diet.
Okay.
And I'm not saying the quality of the food so much. It could be a little bit of the quality of the food, but the fact that the food is cooked and processed, the fact that there are no enzymes in that food, what it's doing is it's causing the protein to not digest completely.
Right.
When that happens, you're going to get a higher uric acid level.
Okay.
The uric acid level can actually deteriorate the bones.
Okay.
It can actually make the joints and the cartilage deteriorate faster, and that's where you're going to set up problems for the future for the arthritis or osteoarthritis, wear and tear arthritis.
Right.
And you're thinking for problems in the future.
So does this? So you had mentioned, I think earlier, that there's in the green room that there's a specific enzyme in here that is designed to help with pain, or
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a painkiller, but
Okay.
it's a super good systemic enzyme.
Okay.
It's called bromelain. Now, the bromelain comes from pineapples. Bromelain is considered proteolytic, which means it will digest protein, but the other 4 enzymes I have in here to digest protein are faster and they work better. So what happens is they all go in together. The first 4 enzymes that digest protein will do the food.
Right.
And by the time bromelain kind of wakes up to and comes to the party, they say, well, there's nothing left for me to do. I guess I'll just go out in the bloodstream and see what I can find.
Okay.
So it will go out systemically. It's kind of been spared the burden of doing the food digestion. Now it can go out into the body and hunt down inflammatory tissue or protein that's leaked into the bloodstream, kind of leaky gut syndrome.
Right.
When the particles get small enough to get in the bloodstream, but they're not really amino acids yet, that's what causes inflammation. That's what can cause problems. The bromelain will hunt them down, find them, break them down to amino acids, and turn that protein sludge into a positive.
So that will essentially reduce inflammation, which will ultimately reduce pain.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
That's pretty interesting. The other thing you had mentioned, time, a second ago. How quickly does it work? Is it different for the size of the animal, or a cat or a dog? When does someone really notice the benefits of PawVites?
In doing this for many years, I've had clients call me back and said, look, it's only been 1 week and I cannot believe the difference in my dog.
Right.
Other people say, hey, how's it been going? It's been about a month. No, nothing really yet. My dog didn't have any problems.
Right.
But then 2 months later, they're going, I can't believe it. My dog's coat's better now
Right.
than it ever has been before. So when you start doing this, it's like powering up the pet food. You're
Sure.
actually going to power up his diet, and that might affect him in a short time as a week. It might be a couple weeks. It might be a month. But you are going to see from the first day you're going to be making progress.
I mean, regardless, if, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, the ingredients in here are all natural. They can only benefit your pet no matter what, right?
Exactly. Better digestion is only going to raise the nutritional density of the animal. So they're eating, they're not digesting it well, but they're living.
Right.
This will digest it 100% completely. Every mineral, every vitamin, every beneficial ingredient of that food is now going to benefit the host.
You know, Dr. Taylor, in a minute, I want to ask you, I want you to tell the story about the police dog in just a moment, because it's such a great story, because I'm sure our viewers do want to call in. Folks, if you've been watching and you'd like some more information about PawVites, then pick up the phone and give us a call. We have trained representatives standing by that can answer all of your questions. Plus, if you call in the next 5 minutes, ask how you can get a full bottle of PawVites absolutely free. Folks, this product has been scientifically formulated, and Dr. Taylor himself says it's guaranteed to work. So again, pick up the phone and give us a call. Tell us the story about the police dog, because I think it's such a great story.
We'd approached an officer that had an active service dog, and of course this was a Belgian Malinois, which is a trained athlete. These are just really trained dogs.
Right.
He's like an athlete. I go, look, this would really help.
Do they look like German Shepherds or no?
Similar.
Okay, all right,
Very
all right,
similar to
okay,
them.
all right.
And I said, this will streamline your dog's digestion, it'll improve his nutrition, you'll get better energy, longer endurance. There's lots of benefits for an active, working service dog.
Right.
He goes, great, I'd love to try it. He understood the principle. So I saw him in about a month. I said, well, how's your dog doing? He goes, well, I didn't see much changes, but he does have more energy now. We do these trials once a month where we run him real hard on a weekend and we do training. But I used to, by 3 o'clock, he was kind of, panting and kind of out of energy.
Right.
Now, 5 o'clock, he's still jumping this high. So he was really impressed with that.
Wow.
I talked to him about another month later. I go, now how's your dog doing? He goes, well, my dog had no issues. I can't believe it. His coat is actually better now. I never think it could be any better than it was, but his coat is now more lustrous, more shiny. It just feels soft. It's amazing. He goes, but that's not really the big story. And I said, well, what's the big story? He goes, well, I've got a retired police dog that lives at my house. He's got bad knees. He's been jumping out of apartment buildings and jumping through car windows and catching burglars.
Sure.
A little bit too old to do surgery on, so we just said we're putting him out to pasture. We're going to treat him like a house pet, and make sure he's comfortable.
Right.
Well, I started the enzymes at the same time with my active service dog, and now it's been 2 months. He's running around the backyard playing with my active service dog like he's a puppy again. He's out of pain.
Such a great story.
So I'm just really, really happy. I mean, we're giving that quality of life for that dog has just increased tremendously.
You mentioned earlier, you hear these stories all the time, right? And isn't that kind of why you were saying this is why you do this, right?
I do. When I help a human, I feel good.
Sure.
But they can take responsibility for their own health. A dog is looking to us going, look, feed me what I need to eat, give me what I need to do, take care of me. It's like a baby.
Right.
So when they're also not prejudiced, they don't know they're taking a supplement that's going to help them.
Right.
Also, they start feeling better, and the owner goes, man, he's feeling better, he's more active. that makes everybody feel good.
You and I, we were talking again a while ago, and I had a dog for, we adopted her for almost 15 years, and we had to put her down, and I'm sure you hear these stories all the time, and it's such a traumatic event, and I remember, she seemed happy, she seemed okay, but at the end of the day, the vet, said she was failing, and there was a lot of things going on, and I wish I had met you then, because you and I talked about it. If you could just give your pet maybe another 6 months, a year, or maybe even longer by changing the oil first before the engine blows up. It's like you said, they're our family members.
It is. That's my whole mission in life. I mean, when I started out with humans take responsibility for their own nutrition. They go,
Right.
I'm gonna take this pill, I'm gonna eat right. But the dogs look at us and they said, please give me the food I need. Please
Right.
help me out here. They're like babies. They can't talk to exactly.
Right.
So it's our responsibility to really take care of them.
Right.
So if I can add a year of life or 2 years of life to your pet, that makes my whole life. That's it right there for me.
Yeah, one of our producers, he was telling me he's got a cat, and the cat woke up in the middle of the night and it was howling, and they weren't really sure what was happening, and they brought him to the vet, and it was some sort of obstruction that it had, and the surgery was $1,500.
Yeah.
Now most people can't afford that. Fortunately he was able to do that, but in that scenario, people would probably put their pet down, and I think that happens. Not only with just what I talked about for the symptom or what happened, but it happens every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it could just be really prevented by just getting the proper nutrition.
Right.
I hate to say that, but I mean, that's like a reality, right?
PawVites is such a basic tool. I mean, besides picking a good food, pick a good food first. And adding PawVites is the next thing that you've got to do for the health of your pet. It's just so simple.
Sure. Dr. Taylor, it's really been an amazing show. Do you have any last thoughts for our viewers?
The number one thing to do with a pet is pick a quality food. And I kind of say try to pick the best quality that you can afford. Beyond that, PawVites is the answer. You've got to digest that food.
Right.
And particularly if you're doing a high-line food, if you're spending really high dollars on a really good food, you want every bite to benefit that dog. You don't want any of it just to shoot the dog unused. So the PawVites is the number 2 thing you're going to do for your dog.
Dr. Taylor, it's been an amazing show. I'm sure we'll have you back. Folks, if you've been watching and you'd like some more information about PawVites, pick up the phone and give us a call. Again, we have trained representatives standing by that can answer all of your questions. Plus, if you do call within the next 5 minutes, ask how you can get a full supply of PawVites absolutely free. Dr. Taylor had mentioned earlier, this product has been scientifically formulated. Again, it's basically about a compilation of his 25 plus years of working with pets. And folks, you've heard the stories. This product can improve your pet's life, whether it's a dog or a cat. It's all natural and it works. Again, my name is Michael Alden, and we'll see you next time. Folks, I'm real excited to tell you about my latest book, 5% More. What I found in 5% More is that anybody can do anything 5% more and achieve extraordinary results. Whether you're the stay-at-home mom, whether you're a high school student, whether you're the CEO of a multinational corporation, what I found was, folks, is that anybody can do anything 5% more and achieve extraordinary results. Folks, if you're looking to grow both personally and professionally, I suggest you pick up my latest book, 5% More. If you'd like some more information about 5% More, visit 5percentmore.com.